All right, we're good to go. So welcome to the feed store.
Thanks
So
for having me.
2 days ago, Joby Martin, Jacksonville.
I've upgraded to Tom Bean feet,
Now
baby.
you're in the feed store. This is
Come
how
on.
does rock bottom feel? You're going the wrong way, brother.
Hey, man, up and to the right.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we're doing.
yeah. No, I appreciate you being here, man. This is pretty awesome. We'll get into how we know each other and sitting across from one of my mentors. You're one of my mentors, and being this close and sharing how much we share. This is pretty cool. You know, we're just getting started with this. The goal with the podcast was to sit with interesting people and influence one or influence thousands. Who knows? But you can't do anything not talking about it.
That's right.
You know, not being on the surface. And you know, you have an incredible journey. I'm on a journey. Many of the men and women I know are on journeys, and we're all kind of defining those paths. And we're better in numbers. 100%. We're better at talking about things and working things out together and creating that village.
Well, that was by design. That's how we're designed to live.
Yeah.
Communally.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Jesus had 12 disciples.
Yeah.
Right. Don't you think we need some people around us?
That's right. We do, man. And man, when you have your disciples and you have your friends and your community, man, life is awesome.
Absolutely.
It's better.
Right. It is better.
There's awesome days and there's tough days, but man, it's when you have to grieve and you can grieve with the people closest to you, it makes it better.
Right.
And then when you have success, it's great sharing that success with, you know.
Yeah. Joby always says when you do things God's way, life does get a little easier.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Not always the best, but you know, if you only have one wife, life's a little easier.
Yeah. I went, my 16-year-old was just we were in the car yesterday. He's talking about it, and he says, so what if you had money was no option? What would your house look like? Whatever. And so we were just, you know, having fun with it. And then he says, well, yeah, and I'd have a spot for each of my wives. And I was just like, dude,
you have no idea.
You have no idea. you need to have lots of spots for your one wife.
That's right.
I said, you make a castle for her.
Amen.
You know, I said, you don't even know it yet. I said, that's the easy answer. I would have said the same thing at 16 years old. Trust me.
Right.
You know? And
one's enough.
One's enough. Mm-hmm. Well, let me give you a proper introduction because I don't think people understand how amazing this is right now. Your background and everything that you have accomplished to get here. Your
my journey.
Your journey.
Going back to we're all on the journey, brother.
Yeah. So John Wayne Walding, born on the 4th of July.
That's right.
Dude,
come on. I almost wore my shirt with bald eagles on it.
Yeah.
I should have wore that today.
Here we are. I think it's July 1st now, right?
That's right.
It's July 1st. 3 days you celebrate your 25th birthday?
That's right.
26th birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. But born on the 4th of July in South Texas, 12 years U.S. Army.
That's right.
Right. 7 years Special Forces, right? Third Special Forces. Third Special Forces.
Yep. Out of Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Yep. And your accommodations are pretty remarkable. And I think this is the part that we really need to go through. So you got Silver Star.
Correct.
Bronze Star.
Correct.
Purple Heart.
Correct.
Combat Infantry Badge.
Correct.
You got the Airborne Badge, Airborne and Special Forces Badge.
That's right.
Did I leave anything off?
There's a few others, but that's the highlights.
That's I know you're a modest guy and you're just an honest guy, but that's pretty remarkable and what people really don't see or can't see is the fact that you are missing your leg from the knee down. And I hate to bring it up because I'm self-conscious about,
don't hate bringing it up.
How, whether you want to talk about it, I didn't know any of that about you when I first met you, probably 5-6 years ago. Our daughters are friends and noticed you had a little bit of limp. I didn't know anything about you. And then my daughter gets back in the car and he says, did you know how Mr. Walding's was a Green Beret and he's missing a leg? And I was like, he was standing up. He jumped out of the car like anybody else.
Seems like you had it to me.
Yeah. So you lost your leg in the Shock Valley. I read the book. I recommend everybody should just read it. It's pretty remarkable. No Way Out. It's about that battle, about the intel, the setup, everything else, and then the massively heroic stories of not only you but also the men that you served with that day goes one by one. I have a lot of. There's so much of it was just like, whoa. And you. I want you to talk a little bit about it, but I think the reason that it's so special is because as a man, not in that situation, you're going to be in life and death situations probably plenty of times in your life, but not in that situation where you're leading, going into a fight, and you always wonder how you would react. whether you're trained or not. What's your instinctual tendencies in those? And there's just that story.
Are you going to lean in or are you going to back down?
Man, that story, every single one stepped up and did something that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Even the guys that came and picked you up. They went down low below the rotors. You can't shoot up. And they're like, we're not leaving without you guys. And every single minute of that journey, the 6 hours or however long you guys were on the ground, just blows you, it just blows
it's
your legs.
The great saying that I even said it on Joby's podcast a couple of days ago is that you don't rise up to the occasion, you fall back on your training. Right. And that's just a clear indicator of just how much special operations soldiers trained.
Yeah.
And you can, segue that into life is that you're going to get out of life what you put into it.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're going to put everything you have into life, guess what? You're going to have a lot.
Yeah.
But if you just sit on the couch and try to watch the next episode of Love Island, guess what? You're not going to have much.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and it's
true.
the same thing there. Like, the guys to my left and right, I appreciate you, bragging on me and everything, but I'm only here because I had some people a lot more courageous, a lot more everything around me that day to get me out of there.
Yeah.
Sure, I didn't quit. If I want to take credit, I'll take credit for not quitting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was a day where, 15 Green Berets went up against 250 insurgents. After 6.5 hours, 70 dangerous close air strikes, we had 10 Silver Stars awarded, 2 were upgraded to the Medals of Honor. Air Force Cross was awarded, 8 Purple Hearts were awarded, but 0 Americans killed.
Yeah. Yeah. And the, because I have a question about the translator too, because it's a big part of the book. But if you don't mind, can you just a few details of that day? I mean, it's just a remarkable story, and I think it needs to be told. And I hope that somebody's inspired and says, hey, I want to go read a little bit more about, because you're amongst the world. You interact with people all day long and have no idea that you carry this, right? And,
right.
And I think it's important, especially with the way the country is going.
That's a good way of framing it, David, is I do carry that cross every day, right? Of knowing what it's like to feel to die.
Yeah.
Right. To knowing what it's like to step over CK's body, who's just got shot in the face, to knowing what it's like to all those things. And it's just a great lesson to live, that you don't know what people are carrying every day.
Yeah.
Right. So how are you going to interact with them?
Yeah.
Right. How are you going to treat them?
Yep.
And are you going to give them grace? Right. Mercy, like we talked about on Saturday. Right. You got to understand that they got problems too. Right. They've got their journey. They've got their cross that they're bearing. And that's, fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to put it, God put that on me. And I am just so grateful that he did. And yeah, we can definitely get into post-war, John.
Yeah.
But before we get there, there was a kill capture mission in 10,000 feet above sea level in Nuristan province of Afghanistan. And to give you a little understanding where that was, we were stationed out of Jalalabad, JBAD Air Base, where we had all the air coverage, because we had the first operational conduct of 201st Commandos, which was the Afghani Special Forces, right? Just like Green Berets, they had a selection process, they had their own Q course and everything like that. So whenever they finally got the, to their unit, got operationally, they were studs.
Yep.
They really were. And so that's who we were fighting with that day. And we loaded up on 2 CH-47s and some Black Hawks. We had 2 Black Hawks with us as well, and then some Apaches that escorted us into the valley.
Okay. And
Nuristan, if you remember when Trump was first elected, he dropped the Moab, the mother of all bombs, that was in the Nuristan province.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right? So it's a hot area.
Area.
Yeah.
No one had ever been there. So kind of, backstory on that. Whenever the Russians were fighting in Afghanistan in the 80s, they never got to go there, right? We haven't ever been there in the time that we had been in the global war on terror at this point. And so there wasn't a lot of intel, right? We call HUMINT, right? Human intelligence.
Okay.
And the only intelligence that we had was from either predator drones that were above us circling or things like that, right? And so we knew he was there that time. We've been trying to get him for a while. Haji Gafour was the guy's name. He was a tier 1, tier 0 type target.
Yeah. Sounds like a movie name. Name a terrorist in a movie. It's like, that's
bingo.
It. That's it.
There it is, right? And his job was funding the HIG, right? Which was when the HIG disbanded, some that left there started ISIS. So that's the type of, I don't like to use the word radical, because they're not radical Islamists. They're just fundamental Islamists, right? If you
doing
really
what they're told.
They're doing what the Quran says, right? And so having said that, they were definitely, a fundamentalist. And so with that being said, we got dropped in right at sunset or sunrise. So there's a few things I do want to talk about. First, what makes a Green Beret different, special, quite literal, it's on our uniform, special forces, right, is that we typically build our target packet before it's executed.
Okay.
Meaning we have intelligence officers that's on our ODA. We have all the supporting elements that find said bad guy, build a packet about why we need to go kill said bad guy, and then go execute said mission, right? And that's not what happened in this scenario. In this scenario, it was fed from the top down, because he wasn't, such a high value target to where the guys, the chain of command above us said, hey, this is the guy we want to get. And we're like, you know what? All right, we'll go get him. Here's how we want to do it. We're going to come in at night. We're going to fast rope on top of the high ground, just like, a Green Beret would, because there's a little saying we say in special operations is we own the night, right? We have all this night vision and everything like that. That got killed. We're like, okay, well, we're going to try to do this. We'll come in today, but still we'll offset up on top of the high ground and then come down. And like, nope, that's not what's going to happen. So in other words, there's a saying in the military called voluntold, right?
Okay.
They were, the mission was dictated to us how it was executed. And that's something that's, special, or, it's not normal business for us. And that's what happened to us that day is we came in as the sun was rising. And when we landed, I always tell everybody, like, it was, we knew they knew we were there because it was silent. Like typically
so
in
they're
battle,
setting up, they're ready to go.
Yeah. They're setting up the ambush.
Yeah.
Right. And, I'm sure you're a hunter, right? When you're hunting, you never want it silent out there. You want a little bit of wind.
Yep.
Right. So you hear the leaves rustling and things of that nature to where the deer feel, or whatever the animal it is, feels a little comfortable. Right. And that's typically how we want it when we go into a village. You want some dogs barking. You want, you hear, fire going, you hear whatever it is, mama's washing the clothes or all those things. And we didn't hear anything. So we knew we were going to, that they knew we were there.
So being that disciplined as you guys are you questioning intel at this point? Are you like, is there any, or it's just, hey, head down, this is the mission, we go, or do you have the opportunity to pull back or say, hey, this doesn't feel right to us, or is it just go, go, go?
I mean, we do have a battlefield commander, right? Kyle Walton, great guy, West Point graduate, just an absolute, stud of a man. For sure, he has that authority on the battlefield to say, hey, we're pulling out.
Yep.
Having said that, there's, significant, what we will call abort criteria that must be met before that happens.
Okay. Gotcha.
Right. You can't just go there and like,
just always curious about
I don't
that.
like this. We're going to go home.
Yeah.
No, there must be that criteria met before we make that decision to a certain extent. Kind of like this one, if the lone survivor, right? Operation Red Wing. We just had the anniversary of it a couple of days ago. Yeah. Largest loss of life for the SEALs in their community. And whenever I went through Special Forces Sniper School, they actually covered that and taught us about abort criteria and how they didn't, when that criteria was met, missed the comms window, got busted by a goat herder. Like there was like things that you're like, okay, this is when you have a small team of 6 guys, you need to get out of there now.
Yeah.
Right. And so anyway, I'm by no means, bashing the mission and that everybody's got clearer lenses.
No, I think it's just being the outside, you're just curious, is like, you're so trained. Now that there's instinct too, right?
Right.
And like, do you have that decision making power? And obviously you do, but there's a criteria.
Yeah,
which is a process and criteria to probably everything that you did.
Right. Yeah, going back to you fall back on your training, right?
Yep.
And when you talk about questioning intel, that typically happens before infill.
Okay.
Right. Before the mission, sure, we're trying to sharpshoot this as much as you can. I always say that an amateur practices to get it right. A professional practices to get it wrong.
Got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Getting right is just something that we do. Right. I know how to shoot the gun. I know how to fast rope. I know how to get to all this stuff, but I want to know what happens when things go wrong.
Yep.
Right. And how do you recover? How do you flex left and right and things of that nature? So just by the nature of who we are, we're questioning everything. Okay. What if he's not there? What do we do? What if there's 2 of them there? What do we do?
Got it.
Right.
Got it.
And so, but yeah, as we're going up the mountain, we're, I always tell everybody, we're literally climbing the mountain.
Sure.
We're going up goat trails. It's not this ADA acceptable, stair with railing and all the things. It's a tough climb for about, 500 feet to get up there.
The book does a very good job of discussing the terrain.
Yeah.
And that's like, you get this visualization. You're like, what?
Right.
I mean, you're shooting straight up. I mean, it's like,
Yeah, it's not a linear battle that we were on that day. I don't think, when you tell the story, I make it a point to talk about that you're not just, like you see in YouTube videos of cool guys shooting on a flat range, like we're shooting 45 degrees up, if not higher, in a mountain.
Yeah.
We're in the mountains.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going up a game trail up in the mountains. And I was the assault team 1 leader. It was myself, Dave Sanders, and a couple of Afghani commandos along with Booyah, our interpreter. And I was 40 meters to the first house into that village, right? The target building was in the middle of the village. And it was my job to clear the first house.
Okay.
Right. Because that can turn into a casualty collection point. That can be our command and control element, and whatever, as getting into a house, lock it down, there's some type of security that we can flex left and right if we need to, no matter what happens in battle. And then the assault team 2 leader was going to leapfrog me to the next building. Obviously, we're going to just clear all the way to the objective.
Okay.
And we got opened up on with an avalanche of gunfire, and I don't say that to sound dramatic or anything other than that's what it is. And within the first 10 minutes of that round getting shot, our lead interpreter, CK, he got shot right in the face, died on impact, and think about the significance of what those interpreters play. To your point about him being in the book a lot, it's a big deal when you can't talk to the guys that you're helping.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And not only is it a big deal, but so is CK, man. He gave his life for his country, and his whole family was murdered by the Taliban. And at age probably 25, he'd seen more combat than all of our entire, ODA.
Yeah.
And
he was on our side. I mean,
all the way.
Yeah.
All the way. Dressed like us, talk like us. Every time I go to the interpreter hut, they'd be watching Friends.
Yeah.
Ross and Rachel be in a fight. And I'm like, hey, man, we got better TV than this.
Can you really get an apartment for
in
New York City like that? Yeah.
Yeah. But they're just, he was great. And, so, he got shot in the face, and I remember stepping over his body at one point and just seeing, the cost of life.
Sure.
Right. The cost of freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And, but Dylan Bear, our RTO, which is a radio transmitting operator, guy on the horn, up to higher, making sure that we got, air assets coming in, making sure that we've got, our blocking positions that are moving with us and all those things. In other words, important guy. He got shot, and initial assessment on him was 20 minutes to live, and we say in lot in combat, you just do the math.
Yep.
Right. 2 + 2 = 4. Right. With us is, you got a target in front of you to get executed. If you can't, you got to flex left and right. Like, you just do the math.
Sure.
And some of it's quite literal math. Like, I knew there's no way we're going to get off the mountain in 20 minutes. There's no way that we're going to get a medevac bird there in 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way he's going to get on the medevac bird. He's dead.
Yeah.
Right. And so doing the backwards math, I already mentally committed to okay, CK's dead now, Dylan's dead.
You got 2 now.
Got 2 down, right? And this is, again, 15 minutes in the first round getting shot. And then I had Luis Morales, call me, and he got shot not once but twice in the right leg, or was it the left leg? I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
He'll let you know.
Yeah, he'll let Luis, when you listen to this, call me. But yeah, he got shot twice in the leg, and I remember him saying, "Hey, John, come get me, brother."
Mm-hmm.
And I always make the point, like, hey, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Because you use proper radio etiquette, and he's sitting there calling me John over the radio.
Yeah.
And so knowing that it was just another, just data point, going back to doing the math, right? Another data point. I'm like, all right, this isn't good. And at that point we came, after 2, USSF are injured, it takes 2 guys to help 1 wounded guy. Right. So 2 injured, that's 6 guys out of the fight. There's only 10 of us on the mountain. Right. And 2 of us are up in front. And so I just moved back down from my position, me and Dylan, and initiated Operation Human Shield is what I call it. Cause we went down there to basically catch the bullets while Ron, the only medic on the team, is keeping them guys alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a great job for probably 2 hours. I'm moving from one position to the next, and that's when I got shot, and David, let me tell you, I'm not here to try to beat my chest and say, yeah, my name's John Wayne, but it was the most pain I've ever felt in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I fell forward, I rolled over to my right, and I just looked, my leg, it was hanging by an inch of flesh, both bones severed, blood coming out. And with the most pain that I've ever felt in my life, it dawned on me that if I don't do something right now, I'm not going to live to, learn what's, the next day is going to look like.
Yeah.
And so I just went to work.
Yeah. Training again, right? It's like
fall back on my training. Yeah. Okay. What do blood goes in and out, air goes in and out, blood goes round and round.
Yeah.
Right. That's very basic trauma doc stuff. And blood was not going round and round. So now I got to fix it. And obviously getting my tourniquet on was the most important thing that I needed to do at that moment. And so that's what I went to. Put my tourniquet on, asked Dave for help, and imagine I was trying to maneuver that tourniquet around a leg that's just severed off, and the saying is ride high or die. Right?
Yeah.
So we pulled that all the way up to the as high as I could, and that's when I just started tightening that tourniquet down as hard as I could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a I know Joby alluded to this too, because I was wondering if they're going to get into it. There's kind of the famous side story of this is that there is still a piece of the leg attached. You're not going to fight with this thing dangling off, so you tie it to the inside of your thigh.
Right.
So you
is either that or cut it off.
Yeah, and that's
that was going back to the.
You're already having a tough day at this point. You bring yourself to cut the rest of it off.
It's like you get a flat, then it starts raining.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But again, every time that I would move, that leg would just catch on a rock or whatever, and it just felt like I got re-injured all. And so quite literally, I had the thought, do I just, because it was only hanging by an inch of flesh. And like, so do I get my, my tactical knife out? Do I just cut it off?
Sure.
But I always say the joke of Ron, Ricky Bobby, like, with my high income and advanced in modern science, there's no reason to think I can save my leg. Funny, but I did think that.
Sure.
I'm like, I'm not a doc. Maybe they can save it, and so I just grabbed it, and that's when I folded it up into my crotch, and that's just held it between my thighs, by then, and carried my leg down the mountain.
Yeah, just it's remarkable. I mean, again, it's one of those situations you're like, whoa, would I do that? But I don't. God forbid anybody's ever in that situation, but there's training and there's this kind of mental fortitude. There's wife and kids at home. I mean, the thought, and we'll get into that a little bit, is like, there's nothing I wouldn't do to go see my daughter walk the aisle. So you hope to think that's the thing, right? Is, that's what, keeps you going. But, just down below you on the hill, I mean, I read this like 3 times because I was just like, here you got the field triage doctor. Mm-hmm. You guys are on a cliff.
Right.
You're fighting up a hill.
Up a mountain.
Yeah. This dude sets up a triage on a 2-foot outcropping underneath a root of a fallen tree.
Right.
A root. I mean, what?
Yeah.
It saves a life, right? I know you one down, but I know he's triaging Morales.
Yeah.
Right.
Both Dylan and Luis both at the same time.
Gunfire. If he sits up while he's triaging, he's going to get shot in the head.
Well, he literally got shot in the head.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He found out later on, I believe, right, that he did take a bullet to the helmet.
Yep.
I'm sitting with the kids after I'm reading this, and
let's put this into perspective.
Like, curl yourself up. You got your buddy, and you're setting up triage. Then he calls in the media guy.
Yeah, the combat camera guy.
The combat camera guy is now.
By the way, has no training, no combat training.
I mean,
sure, he's been to basic training. He's done some stuff, but his job is just to hold a camera, point, and shoot. And we were the shiny new toy, and it was just like the movies, Dave, they're like, hey, go cover these guys. And he shows up at our team room, with
all this equipment,
all this dumb equipment, that a conventional guy would have.
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, take that off. No, you don't. Rubber chicken. Why'd you bring that? Like there's, and now he's on the battlefield.
He's on the battlefield. He steps up big time. He's helping.
Steps up.
They're hanging IV bags and he's administering morphine. That's what I'm saying. There's no story that shouldn't be told of that group. And I know you feel it, but it's just this impactful thing. And I know, and he even played a role in finding the route out. I was Googling him after because I was like, where is he now?
Yeah.
And I know everybody has that path, because I was just like, and he wasn't even supposed to be on that trip. I think he was filling in for somebody that got sick.
Yeah.
He's already on his way home. He's like packed and ready to go.
Yeah.
And here he is now in the
Mike Carter
fight for his life,
Well, it's just a great example of war. Right. It's a great example of what war truly is. It's the most unforgiving thing that's ever existed. It doesn't care who you are, where you come from, how much training you got. The better guy in the fight doesn't always win at war.
Yeah.
It's that unforgiving. And, it's also a testament to the men and women that wear the nation's cloth. Those that serve this nation, you've got to understand the significance of what they signed up for. Right. And that camera guy, this is an example exactly of that. And God, by the way, he stepped up.
And everybody stepped up, but just to went
everybody
beyond his training and said, he could have, and nobody would have thought anything different. He could have turned his back and hightailed the hell out of there. Mm-hmm. Right. Probably would have got shot in the process because
Right.
there was no cover, but he jumped up on that cliff.
And did his job. Like, they should go to work. And that's what I tell everybody. Just go to work.
Go to work, right? And
it's all noise.
Yeah.
Sometimes quite literal noise. Sometimes it's emotional noise.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's whatever it is, but just go to work.
Yep.
You know, pick up your proverbial gun, whatever that is. Could be your laptop if you've got to do this. It could be your
Mhm.
shovel if you need to dig or whatever that is. And just go to work.
Yeah. I think one of the other interesting parts of this story is that Americans hadn't been there.
Right.
Even the Russians hadn't been there. The intel was that was a trickling stream that you guys had to cross. In reality, it's a full-blown
rapid,
melting snow, and it's your way out.
Yeah.
And now you're missing a leg. You know,
Yeah.
people are shot up. You got to carry a couple of you guys. I mean, you were full carry, right? I mean,
on a litter had to get drugged through that river.
Yeah, they drug through that river. So it just
to the HLZ.
To the and then you got the helicopters are coming down. They're worried now, which I learned in the book. I just think this kind of stuff I love, process oriented and, decision making on the fly. They know that it's physics. When those rotors go below the shooting zone, their gunners are useless. They can't shoot through the rotors. And that's how steep it was.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going anyway. And they're going anyway. And then those,
and one of the pilots got shot doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And, so they're going anyway, and they're not leaving you guys behind. I think, man, he just just crazy story. Because you're like, man, I never even thought about that. Because you think about American firepower, you're like, they're just going to come and sit up on that hill, and that thing is just going to crumble down into oblivion, which I know you guys dropped that was your cover.
Right.
A pretty substantial bomb. From
from
a plane or
from
or was it what they launched from?
The 2,000 pounder was from a fast mover. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She came in just like in the movies, right? Just
like in the movies.
Comes in and you better get the hell out.
Literally yelled incoming.
Yeah. Yeah. Did the fire stop after that?
Yes. That was so the significance of dropping ordnance was just for that over the 6.5 hours, it wasn't just the violence of action as much as it was the sustained firepower that we received, right? There's a term called talking the guns, right? When you're on the ambush line, you've got, a belt fed on one side of the kill zone, you got a belt fed on the other side of the kill zone. And instead of you both just laying down on the trigger at the same time, you talk the guns. It's right side, bop, 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 bop. Left side, bop, 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 bop. Right? And you just keep doing that on both sides. It keeps the barrels cool, all the things that's what you would hear.
Yep.
I don't know if they were necessarily taught that or were doing that, but that's, it was an unrelenting amount of fire, hour after hour after hour after hour. And the only time to really get a lull in fire was to drop a big bomb on top of their heads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's whenever we've got to maneuver, right? So it went drop bomb, fall off the cliff, do whatever we got to do to get to the base of the mountain and or move toward the HLZ, and then drop another bomb whenever they started shooting again. And going back to the first pilot got shot. Imagine what it was like for us, where that bird's coming down and we receive fire. Now that bird flies away, and now we're just getting shot at again in the middle of a wadi with no cover, no concealment.
Sure.
River between us and the nearest concealment.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you can't do anything at this point.
Can't do anything.
You're tied up.
Yeah.
That's it's remarkable. So, contrarian question: is the thought of dropping men down there to go capture this guy, is this for intel? So why not just go in there and drop? It's a hot zone. Why not just obliviate the whole side of the mountain? Just
dead guys can't talk.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's what I figured. So
dead guys can't talk, and for sure there's always the potential of killing the bad guy, but at the end of the day, we want what's in his head, right? And so that's why we do what we do there.
Yeah. So what again I learned from the book and from other books too is the Green Berets, and you validate this for me. The Green Berets, they go in, they train the trainers, essentially, right? I mean, we want to make these foreign countries that are fighting the terrorists, and whether it's terrorists or it's a dictator regime, and we want to train them, train them to take care of themselves.
Yeah,
and the Green Berets play a huge role in that, right?
Right.
And
Well, to be clear, we have the ability to do that. That's not the only thing that we do, right? What we do is you send 15 guys into this region and you give them a mission to affect change, whatever that might be in throughout the end, instead of just saying, it's kind of like Dallas, right? Instead of saying going into Oak Cliff and then go get this bad guy, we're going to say, you're going to go in the DFW Metroplex with 15 guys, and I want you to go figure out who needs to go and build and go, do that.
Okay.
And here's my point to that. With the commandos, that quite literally was our job, is to train the trainer, kind of to what you said, right? Yep. But think about also with the movie 12 Strong, when we went into Afghanistan, right after the towers fell, we essentially linked up with two warlords that didn't like Al-Qaeda.
Okay.
Right. So to put it in an American perspective, we went and got we got the Bloods and the Crips to fight on our side to fight MS-13 together.
Yep.
Right. So we have that ability to do as well. Right.
Okay.
It's not just train the trainer. It's going into an environment that is not permissible, semi-permissible.
Yeah.
There are some people that will agree with what we're doing, and then get them to get on our side and then go fight with them.
Yeah. That's where, like, man, I was tearing up listening to just how cool the translator was.
Yeah.
I mean, he loved you guys.
Oh yeah.
And that was like,
he wanted to come back to America.
Just get him there
all
and
the stuff.
Yeah. And I think you guys probably had full intention to do that,
Yeah.
He could be living in
for sure.
Gunner right now.
That's right. Going to the forge on Saturday.
Going to the forge on Saturday. Calling us wusses and stuff like that. But yeah, so, so I can imagine those relationships were tough for you guys because, these were key assets.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you just go in and now you got this kid that's like, heck yeah, you're John Wayne.
Yeah,
I saw you in the movies.
Yeah,
and
now, howdy, partner.
Yeah. Now I get to be a part of that team. Thinking about that whole relationship, and you go in and you love these people, right? I mean, you're there to defend them. You're there to defend our country and stop this. And then you got these people who are just so terrified. I mean, we can't imagine living like this.
Mm-mm.
We can't.
And I'm not saying Americans need to, go do that.
No.
Right. But to your point, there's living in a war zone and going to war, then coming home is two different things. Mm-hmm. Right. And these men lived in the war zone. That is their home.
Yeah.
And until you truly understand that and try to conceptualize what it would be like to drive down the Dallas North Tollway and worry about getting blown up, you don't understand it.
You won't understand it. No, it's not.
I still can't drive down the road and see a rock or something on the side of it.
I can't even imagine. Recovery?
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Yeah, the transition
like?
that I like to always say is, everybody asks me about April 6th, right?
Yep.
No one asked me about April 7th,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right, of what it was like when I woke up in that hospital bed, terrified to look down. And
and there's no chance at this point, right, to save it? I mean.
Yeah, just remember, think about opening your eyes and you're seeing ceiling tiles. And you know exactly where you are while you're there and what's going to be the next moment of your life. And you're going to look down and see if you got one leg or two. Because I can still feel my toes at the point, right? Even right now as we're sitting here, however many years later, the same nerves that went to my toes are still there. They're just shortened.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's called phantom pain.
Phantom pain, yeah.
And so, I'm just having that moment. All right, open my eyes, I'm looking up.
Until you put visual confirmation on it.
That's right. And so whenever I looked down, that's whenever I saw I only had one foot sticking up out of that. And talk about just your whole world changing.
Sure.
Right. Because Dave, you don't do what I did because you like it. You do it because you love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you didn't, you'd quit.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that hard. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And it makes you question, do I really want to be here? And boy, I really wanted to be there. I wanted to wear that Green Beret and do all the things and to know my entire life will be different. It's just like what you're doing right now. Imagine if everything you're doing got changed and you have to be a totally different person the next day. Right. And then, again, quite literally, but also, from a job perspective and everything else is like, not only am I not going to be that guy in the stack going and doing Green Beret stuff, but also I'm a disabled man.
Yeah.
Right. Which as a 26-year-old guy, I can do anything at that age.
Yeah.
Right. And I talk about learning the inevitability of the word can't, right? I can't walk. And how do you deal with that? For me, God was the absolute foundation of what's helped me overcome that word because, the best saying is that I've heard it put is God's not doing this to you. He's doing it for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean fun, right? It doesn't mean easy. It doesn't mean anything other than it's going to be for his glory and your good. And if it's not good, he's not done yet.
Yeah.
And that, and I don't take what I just said like, okay, if I just think that way, it's not going to be difficult. No, it was so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I had to fight through tears day after day of God, why me?
Yep.
Right? Why did you take my leg? Because I didn't give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
He took it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I can just tell you after however many years it is now that it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because it's taught me so much, about humility, about, vulnerability,
Mm-hmm.
all the things and gratitude and so many things else that, having this leg, taken from me, it's, and I thank God for it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I had one of those crazy moments at the forge. You're trying to pick up a girl and you say something stupid, and the whole way home you're like, damn it, because we're leaving the forge. And for people who don't know what that is, John and I and a couple other guys, we do a workout. We do something hard, and that's the basis of it. And we do a hardcore workout. It's the older you get, I'm the old guy there. The belly, you feel it all.
Yeah.
But if you want to be inspired, follow a guy with one leg, and then you can't fall back. But and then we go into the Bible.
Right.
We talk manhood. We talk life.
What is a biblically man?
What is a biblical man?
Yeah.
But we were leaving there, and just you're taxed. Your body's taxed. You're feeling good, feeling close to God, ready to take on the world. And I looked down and I said, I think you losing that leg was one of the best things that could have ever happened. And I was like, what the hell did I just say?
Yeah.
And I didn't mean it that way. You're helping me on my journey.
Mm-hmm.
That journey, whether we would have met or not, I don't know. Probably not. I mean, it's probably the tipping point for a lot of your
man. If I hadn't lost this leg, I'd have a drinking habit and a divorce.
Yeah.
And be a sergeant major probably.
Yeah. I don't think so. And I remember driving home going like, stupid idiot.
No.
Like don't say that to.
That's the truth.
We've obviously interacted a lot since, and you didn't invite me back. It's good. We didn't break up. I think we're very similar from the standpoint of we're not the straight A kids. We're not,
right.
We're good athletes. The book says you got the Hollywood looks with the Brad Pitt smile.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of things done with that. You can smooth your way into jobs, and we're going to be successful because we're smart on our feet. We can get things done, and we have a work ethic that I always tell when I get a chance to talk to younger generations. I always said that I had none of the credentials, but you weren't going to outwork me.
Right.
That's just it. Like
if you get a PhD in hard work, you can go anywhere in life.
I'm classically trained in the white collar world, and I did very, very well there. But if that all went away, you could throw me up on a roof, and I know how to roof. I could do masonry. I could do the table is going to get served. We are going to eat tonight. I will find a way. You can't outwork me. And if you need me 16, I'll do 16. You need me 24, I'll do 24. It doesn't matter, and so, but it was being so lost with all that confidence was just being lost. Who the hell am I?
Right.
What do I do?
It's a battleship with no rudder.
It's
one of the most, technology advanced and biggest firepower that's ever getting put in the water. If it has no rudder, it's useless.
Yeah. And that journey, and it was God.
Right.
It was missing. I think back, and I have a hard temper. I grew up in a tempered home. I always say I grew up in the BBC home. We bitched, we blamed, and we complained. Like that was the philosophy on everything. And not in a sit back kind of way, but just like somebody else's fault, or we just go handle this thing with fist and no love.
Yeah.
No I love yous, no all this other stuff. And then you're in this world where God sent me this beautiful woman who's way better than me. I'm in a ditch tweaking on the side of the road right now without this lady because I had no answers. And then these beautiful kids, and you go, how can I lead this family when I'm at the top and I'm not? I need something bigger than me. And so I think it's just the irony of how we met, at the timing that we met. My journey was already matured and trying to find God, find who I am. How can I spiritually lead my family? How can I be a better man? How can I sin less? How can I control urges? All this stuff. And we had gone to multiple churches. I tried reading the Bible, just can't interpret this.
Right.
Downloaded all the apps. We started praying, and Stacy is my ninja. She knows how to pray. She knows how to interpret. She's a great researcher. She started putting this thing on that path, but then that hurt me even more because I'm like, she can't be the leader. She needs
Pride's
me.
hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, she needs me. This is where she's looking at me while she's praying, saying like,
Right.
this is where you step up. Then I started leading prayer. Then I started doing this in my own interpretation. And man, when you start to do that, open up the Bible again. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're making sense. Find some mentors and leaders that can talk to me like I understand.
Right.
Which is you. Right. And then, man, then you're here. John, I say things to people that I can't believe I say. God loves you. God bless you, brother.
Right.
All of a sudden, your world is crowded with support. I don't know how else to say it. Like, it goes from a very lonely world to now this world. You feel like you have an army.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It just feels great. And you've taught, I'm not trying to blow you up,
no.
but just even saying, hey, Daily Blade,
right.
Start your day with this.
That's your spiritual brushing your teeth.
Then we forge. We work out until I can't move. And then we sit and we're men and we're vulnerable men.
Right.
And we forge this relationship with God.
Amen.
We forge this relationship with this village. What a life-changing thing for a man who's expected to lead. I feel stronger than I've ever felt in my entire life.
Isn't it crazy?
It
is. I mean, it's not crazy. It's God, right? But first and foremost, I'm right there with you, brother. Like I'm learning just like you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one thing that I made the decision, because identity, precedes activity.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If you say you're going to be an alcoholic or a drinker or whatever, you're going to do good at it. Right.
Yep.
But if I said like, I'm going to know God, I'm going to be that spiritual leader. You were talking about through your, what you were just talking, that's exactly what you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
David Apple was committing the identity of being the spiritual leader in his family. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And I did the same thing, maybe a few years before you, but whenever I made that commitment, I just used the warrior mindset of what I did in the battlefield in the Bible,
mm-hmm.
right? In the battlefield, you've got to be physically fit, right? Well, I want to be physically fit. If God calls me to go carry 100 Bibles up a mountain to go help people, I can do that, or whatever, help a family in need and, dig a ditch or whatever that is. Like I want to be physically, all the stuff there, right? But the emotional and spiritual and quite literal knowledge of the Bible, I got to know that stuff, right? That's the knowing of how to do a battle drill, right? I talked about setting up a linear ambush. I know how to do an L-shaped linear, all the different things, react to contact, because that's what's in our Ranger handbook. Well, that's what the Bible is.
Yep.
And you said it earlier about, I open it up. I don't know what the heck I'm looking at. I thought the same thing. I looked at it and I'd read this, I'd read that. New Testament, we all kind of understand it's Jesus talking. That's good stuff, whatever. The Old Testament, I don't know what that's all about other than, the laws and Moses and all that good stuff. And so, but I knew it was important. And that's just whenever I got serious and sincere about knowing it. And you know what I did, man? I went on Bible Project, right? They do a great job of just, hey, what does this book mean? And literally quite literal, like a 4-year-old drawing it out. Here's the book of Leviticus, right? Here's the book of, Micah, whatever that is. And but then they also have classes that they do now. And I went on there, took 28 sessions of what is the Hebrew Bible, which is the Old Testament, right? And it taught me that when you open that book up, you're basically going back in time, right? That is a book that's thousands of years old, 40, however many authors that it was. Who were they talking to? Why were they talking to them? And it's like a quilt that's together. And, I just did the work. I went to work.
Yep.
I don't know this, but I'm going to know it. And I took the time out instead of watching something on Netflix at 6, 7 o'clock at night. I was in my office doing a Bible study video. Yeah. Right. And just time after time, session after session, know a little bit more. And I've forgotten a lot of it, but it's gotten me where I am now, right? To where I know a little bit about it. And it's helped me understand the Bible, not necessarily, and I don't mean memorizing every verse.
Sure.
Right. But I understand, what is the purpose of it. And so when I do open it up, I have to have that lens again, like going back in time when, I read 2 Corinthians, understand why was Paul writing to the Corinthians to begin with? Well, they had just figured out that, they just lost Jesus, who is now their Messiah, that was only around them for 3 years, but before those 3 years, they were Jews, right? They were Gentiles. And now they're, the Church of Corinth has come together, both of those different cultures, different everything. and they both believe in this Jesus guy, but no one gave them a playbook on how do I do that now.
Yeah.
Right. So that helps you when you're reading it, the why behind the what. Right. And that's what's helped me so much is just put the work in, man. And,
Yeah.
I went through an 18-week systematic theology course at, Grace Bible with Pastor Roy. What is a triune God? Is the Bible infallible? What is sin? And just, again, the same warrior mindset that I had in combat now I have back at home, to where I'm going to know this stuff. I'm going to be locked, cocked, ready to rock, because I said earlier, in John 10:10, the enemy comes to only kill, steal, and destroy.
Yep.
Well, guess what? So do I.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the type of mindset I'm going to have against the devil.
Yep.
Right. That's what I'm going to do. And I, like we said at the Forge, imagine when you're leaving that parking lot or that driveway and there's a lion out there,
yeah.
right? That lion wants to kill you. You're going to get in your truck different, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got to live a life that way, not just be cavalier about just saying grace at the supper table, but being a warrior for Christ and going out there and just killing the enemy, not letting him come into your marriage, not letting him come into your, things. And when you do, that's the mindset you've got to have to go against it.
100%. Like this notion of the devil, demonic, it's easy and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere. By no means, I'm 20% perfect. I got 80% to go. I'm doing the little things that I can do. So I think that analogy is excellent. And for me, it's a visual, and I treat it that way. I'm about to have to make a decision. I can go the easy route.
Well, when you have that warrior mindset and you meet people here all the time around the shop, right? Yeah. And you meet, husbands, you meet wives, aunts, nieces, and this lady gives you your number because you want to, get a new product into the store, right? You got to do business. So now you're talking to another woman.
Yeah.
Right. And then that business is going well. And then now you both like each other because you got good business rapport. Well, now she sends you something that's not really business related.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's okay.
How are you doing today?
But we're friends now.
Yeah.
Right. And then blah, blah, blah. As to me, I wore on that.
Yeah.
Right. To your point where you see it.
Yep.
Now I see it as to where, hey, I get it. We're, business related, all this stuff. Well, but I'm never going to let that get down that road because I'm going to go, that is a lion trying to kill me.
Yep. Yeah. And oh man, what a great analogy. As you know, Stacy and I spend every minute together.
Yeah.
And the great thing to me is like, there's the minutes, the work minutes, and then there's the alone minutes, then there's the parenting minutes. It wasn't always that way. I used to work and travel.
Yeah.
It's harder to be together all the time than it is to have this absence. And for me, I'm just
any man,
but when we were apart, we were drifting too, right? Because she's got different challenges and I got different challenges. Now that we share the challenges, the amount of respect we have to have for each other, everybody's watching, right? We can't have bad days. We can't be fighting in front of people. And we've realized that in this journey, and it's great because I rely on her for a lot of interpretation. Like she's way smarter than I am. One of the things that we have done, and I'm saying this because maybe it helps some other people, right? Relationships are tough. Marriages is the most challenging thing mentally that you'll do. And I hate that people give up on it so easy. It sucks. I hate seeing that.
Life ain't about fun.
No.
Life ain't about easy.
No.
Life's not about comfort.
No.
And for some reason, especially with this quote unquote American dream that we're trying to get, that it's all about that, right? Just retire, right? Just get easy and all that. And as soon as it, specifically to marriage, right? It's not always going to be sunshine and butterflies.
Yeah.
The reality is majority of it's probably not going to be.
Yeah. No.
Right. There's conflict that you got to deal with just at the simple inevitability of man and woman together. Right. And it just comes with grace. It comes with, mercy. It comes with understanding, with all the things, man. And by the way, making them their deal bigger than your deal.
Yeah. And we have those conversations together, and that's changed everything to the point where we make decisions together and it's instinctual now. It's that instinctual component of it. And now I think it's the other interesting thing to note is she and I met, we were in the media industry. There's no ugly people in the media industry.
Yeah.
There's none. I mean, it looks like a movie set. It's deliberate. They're going out to sell these big things and you want the best looking girl. And then they get the good looking guys to go into these media buyers of these middle-aged women and you got to flirt. And she's secure. I'm insecure. I'm insecure because I grew up in a home where mom and dad didn't like each other.
Right.
I was cheated on. I cheated. I did all this, I did all
Gotta
the bad
prove
stuff,
yourself.
and I just wish I could kill that part of my life. But so I meet this incredibly strong woman, beautiful. I mean, I used to get a kick out of like guys looking at her and walking into each other at the airport. This beautiful, striking woman who's smart. I can't get over history.
Mm-hmm.
Of course she had boyfriends.
Right.
Of course she had other relationships.
So did I.
So did I. But mine don't matter. Hers matter. Because I'm so damn insecure. I have nothing important in my life. I'm just chasing the dollar.
Right.
Because that's all that matters. That's all that mattered in my home was like, success is money. Success is not happiness. Success is not relationships. Success is money. Go out and earn. If I heard that term, you're in your earning years one more time. You're not in your love years. You're not in your mentoring years. Just go out and earn. When I'm in that phase, I can't get over it. And it takes an act of God. We bring this up all the time. She picked up the phone and she said, I love you, but you don't cut the SHIT out. I'm gone. There's no, like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. And I was like, whoa, God sent me this, and then God sent me this message to stop. Joby had said it, God doesn't care about your history. He cares about your salvation now.
Right.
You can submit now.
Mm-hmm.
You can totally submit to God now. And we're not going to erase your history, but we're going to make your history strength for now.
Right.
We're going to make you stronger now. Man, and it's just...
that's the whole thing. Like, there's more grace in God than sin in you. That's ultimately what it means.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That whenever you're bringing all this to God, there's people, I don't know how many, especially veterans and things, that say, man, I don't, God doesn't know what all I've done, or he only knew everything that I've ever done. I'm like, first of all, he does know.
Mm-hmm.
And second of all, you mean the guy that created the entire universe and everything in it and all the good that's ever happened to this can't just forgive you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's more grace in him than sin in you. And you've got to understand that it's just our ego.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
We build ourselves up to be this, because at the end of the day, this is old John Eldredge, statement from his Wild at Heart book, which, if you haven't read that, that's like every man's starting point on it is the question that every man has to have answered is, do I have what it takes?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And every woman's question that has to be answered is, am I loved?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
I love it.
Am I beautiful? Am I loved? And that's how the devil comes at both of these individuals, right? He kills the woman's worth, right? He kills her sense of being valued. He kills her sense of being lovely and all those things. And that's what turns her bitter. As for us men, he kills our significance. He makes us insignificant. Mama didn't love me, right? So she gave her up, or I don't have this, or I don't have this dollar amount in my bank account, or I didn't exit this business at this time. And that values of this guy over here don't have what it takes. And she says, I'm not beloved. Oh, now, by the way, the world says you should go ahead and get together now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And when you put God at the center and you stop looking at each other's faults and you start looking at him, that's whenever healing starts happening.
Yeah. I hate that you just always have the word. It's so tough. I come back from the forge and I take notes while we're talking and we're interacting, because there's always these nuggets setting the temperature, right? Like we talked about being the thermostat, not the thermometer.
Right.
You can set the temperature.
Not only you can, that's your job.
Yeah, it's your job.
That's your obligation.
Yeah. I got to stop saying it. I got to just raise my hand, go first, right, all the time. And
it's hard. And that's the thing, David. And by no means do I have it all figured out, right? I just keep going back to the warrior mindset, to where there's just something that clicked in me, to where I'm like, enough.
Mm-hmm.
Enough excuses.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Stop making excuses of why you can't pray for your wife. Stop making excuses of why you can't get over your stupid little emotions and be the man that family needs. Stop making excuses, right? You can either make a difference or make an excuse. You get the agency to do that. And that's just what I just am trying to drive into men, is that you choose how to show up at home.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You choose if you open up that Bible, and dadgum, if you don't know how to open it up, you figure out how to do it.
Yep.
Right. And because we make all those excuses. And I was just reading Matt Chandler's new book that I was telling you about it.
Yeah.
And,
I know Joby mentioned it.
Distraction is a huge one.
Yeah.
Right. Because there's a difference between not making the choice and just getting distracted from the choice and altogether. Right. Because you come to this, you're being, confronted with this choice of, do I pray for my wife or whatever this, the challenge is. You're like, I'm going to go play golf.
Yeah.
right? You just distract yourself from the real, decision in your life that you need to work on. That's men do that so much. I always say one of the worst things, the most dangerous things a man could have is drinking buddies.
Yeah.
Right? Or golf buddies
Mm-hmm.
or shooting buddies or whatever it is
Yeah.
guys that distract you from what really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, like, for sure there's habits that guys can have and hobbies or whatever. But the reality is there is nothing more important than you being the man in that house, the spiritual leader in that house, the guy that's leading you, that's shepherding your wife's heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that, there's so many times I never will forget that it was years ago now, but my wife and I were in a knockdown, drag out fight. And I just felt God saying, stop being a kid and go pray for your wife.
Mm-hmm.
That's what cause it's all ego.
Yeah.
It's all ego. When she said she didn't give you that respect you deserve, or she just doesn't understand, or she just don't, want to do this and that and that. And I said, you know what? I said, babe, let's pray. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't you said earlier, she knows how to pray. You don't. No, you know how to pray.
Yeah.
It sounds just like this. God, I don't know what we're doing, but we know you're the answer.
Yeah.
Right? Give me the heart that can feel her love. Right? Give me the eyes to see the right thing, the ears to hear, like all those things. And that's just what I started doing, Dave.
Yeah.
I just, no more excuses.
Yeah.
Right? We make no excuses at work.
Yeah.
We're going to win.
Yeah. We're going to win every day.
No, every single day. Yeah. We're winners. That's what we're doing. Why don't we have that mindset at home?
Yeah.
It's our pride. That's why.
Yeah.
Right. They just get so hurt because to your point earlier about, those, the, whether it's kid hurt, whether it's family hurt, whether it's church hurt, whatever that is, there's just that something in you that doesn't allow to be that way. And again, what I just did, no more excuses.
Yeah.
I pray for sure when times are good, but more importantly, when times are bad, I'm like, hey guys, let's do this.
Yeah.
After church, when we watch Joby every Sunday, we kneel together in our coffee table. We pray. Mm-hmm. Prayer is the A-10 warthog of close air support to a family's spiritual need.
I'm telling you, I'm 50, about to be 50. If I can do it, anybody can do it. And I'm telling you, I was the biggest a-hole. No, yes, I have friends from back in the day. I didn't know who I was. And if I could find out let's just say it's been a 10-year plus journey, but 40s and all the way into the 50s and still do it. And my daughter carries around her Bible. We pray as a family. I don't feel stupid about it. I don't feel like it's silly. I grew up in a home where you're in the car and church was letting out and causing traffic and we couldn't get to the boat or to the beach or something. And, my dad's
cussing all these truck owners.
Yeah. That's just a way. Yeah. That's what I was dealt with. Had to overcome it for me, for her, for the family. You can do it. I don't know what the path is. I don't know what the right way. Open up the book. Go to church. But the thing I get the most out of is I can sit shoulder to shoulder with my beautiful wife. We can listen, whether we're in church, whether we're watching, whether we're listening to podcasts or we're listening to you yesterday. And we can sit shoulder to shoulder and we can talk about how that applies to our life. And man, that makes such a huge difference.
The most important thing I've ever started doing in my life is every morning my wife and I have coffee and read the Bible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's your thing. And that's kind of what we do too, in sense.
And it's not, this, I mean, just so the listeners know, it's not this eloquent thing where we have this beautiful Bible that's open up and we're,
classes
something as simple as
it's this.
Yeah.
It's this. Her and I
pulling up a daily devotional and hitting play.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when we're on the same page, I mean, first of all, intimacy is better. Our relationship is better.
Right.
The communication with the kids. Last night, I looked up at God and I said, thank you. Our house was full of laugh. I mean, we were cracking up. Curran's telling jokes. He and Kelly aren't fighting, going to blows. They're going. Reese is chiming in. We're all having a good time. This is life.
And guess what? You set that.
Yeah, I can set the temperature.
That's
I
right.
set the temperature in here. And it's working. That's it.
That's it.
And man, it's this ability to grab my wife's hand whenever I can grab her hand out there tending to horses, sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
Enjoying a beautiful breeze when it's 100 degrees out. Man, what a life you can set for yourself if you just take control. My thought was, I used to have to cross when I was working for Viacom International in Times Square. I used to have to go past the naked cowboy. And he's up there. He's naked with just skivvies on, preaching the Bible. And you're going, that's the only, is that it? You're either a freak or this.
Right.
And when you're not open to anything, on either side,
Right.
that's all it looks
I'll say no to both.
I'll say no to both.
Mm-hmm.
Then you sit down and then you start developing mentors and you start hearing their word. Someone like you, someone like there's a gentleman, an entrepreneur down the street here who's just a wonderful person. And man, you can just get into these beautiful conversations.
Yeah.
You just wonderful conversations about life and success. And guess what happens? You're always successful after that.
Right.
Whatever it is. And I'm not talking money, business, or anything. I'm just talking about
better.
Your heart rate is down. You feel good. Sun's a little brighter. The birds are a little bit happier, and people accept you. You have the Holy Spirit. Yep. People know it, and you don't have to say it.
You just got to want it.
You just got to want it.
You got to want it.
And I that's what I want people to really understand is that, because there are going to be a lot of people like, dude, I saw you do it. Mm-hmm. And of course you did. That was me. I'm not.
And guess what? That's not even the worst.
That's not.
You don't even know the worst.
You don't even know the worst. That's not. And I'm not gonna walk up to you and chase you down the street and try to sell you the word.
Yeah.
But I want you to be better because you know me, and I want to be better because I know you.
Right.
That feels great. Our buddy Adam that we do the Forge with.
Right.
I love that he's in my life.
Amen.
And, we're two opposite sides of the planet.
Yep.
He's just getting started in life, and man, I think about that dude all the time.
Yeah.
And I love him.
Amen.
And I see him. I've known him for 8 hours. Honestly, right?
Yeah.
In physical world.
Mm-hmm.
But I love him, and he makes me better. I hope I make him better, and I hope we're inspired. We're inspired together. So
you just got to live intentionally. That's where it starts, right? When I say you got to want it, that means you wake up intentionally every day saying, I'm going to get 1% better, right? Just 1%. And what does that mean? And then putting something that actually means to getting you better. Could not be reading the Bible. It could be just stop looking at porn.
Yeah.
Right. It couldn't be start doing something. It could just be stop doing this. Right. But it's the commitment of every day getting better, and to your point, what you're saying is when you start the term compounding interest.
Yeah.
Right. Whenever 1% comes 5, becomes 15, becomes 3,000. Right.
Yeah.
Because day after day after day after day, you've put that little effort towards getting better into play, and then that's when your marriage gets better. But at the end of the day, you've got to humble yourself to know you need it.
Yep. Yeah.
And if you never do that, you're never going to want it.
Yeah.
Right. James 4:6 says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. I don't know about you. I wouldn't want the creator of the universe to oppose me.
Yeah.
Right. So that statement hits me pretty hard, gives grace to the humble. Right. So humble yourselves and let the Lord just come into your life, and it'll change everything about everything.
Yeah. And we'll get wrapped up because I know I'm just so appreciative of your time, but you say this very eloquently, but because there's so much noise, man, there's so much noise. God forbid you open up that Facebook app or any of those things. And man, Christians are extremists. We got to let Muslims in, all this crazy stuff. And you always say, it's just noise.
Right.
It does not dictate how you live your life. It starts in the home, and it starts in the home. There's no other way to live.
You want to change the world, change your house.
Yep. I love it.
Right. You want to change the world, start the Forge, whatever it is of you.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad you brought up social media, because people have got to realize it's not real.
Yeah.
Nothing on there is real.
Yeah.
When you see that photo of that beautiful family, I got one. We just left New England and we were on the beach.
Yeah.
There's this beautiful photo of us that, sunsets come in, and look at this perfect, beautiful. You know what we were doing before then? Yelling at each other. Get over here, quite literally.
Sure.
Everybody focus, get over here. Finally, we're going to take a family photo. And so when you see this picture, that's not real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people allow themselves to think that way, that when they pull it up, and that's why I'm not anti-social media guy at all. I just don't, subscribe to it. That's just a life that I want. I'm going to dictate where I'm going.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't care what this, person says or this person says. I'm just going to keep my eyes focused on God, and then let him change my heart and lead me where he says. That's my prayer every day is, God, this is you, I am yours. I submit to you.
Yep.
Show me the way.
Yep.
Right. I don't want an easy life. Give me the shoulders that can bear your yoke. right? I want to be a hard man that can take the life that you got for me because I know it's for my better and your glory, right? And that's what I focus on. I don't focus on the external stuff about what Kardashian did this or what, all that stuff, man. And my point of saying that is I'm not chasing followers, right? God has blessed me to go and speak and do things in front of a lot of people. I care more about going to the forge than I do speaking in front of 1,000 people.
Yeah. And you feel that when
because that's where true change happens is when you have an intimate relationship with guys, right? They can look each other in the whites of the eyeballs and give the honesty with each other, right? And that's the goal, man. And the goal is not to have an audience of 4,000 people in front of you. The goal is to have one other, just one more.
Yeah. And there's like when we forge, there's typically like the three of us, a couple of us, but those three homes are changing.
Yeah.
And they're going to change our world.
Right.
And that's what matters. That's what I want people to really take away and it doesn't have to be anything structured. It's not where do I sign up? It's what can you do in your home? So with that's what's going on and anything that you want to talk about that's going on in your life coming up or anything like that or yet to be determined?
Yeah. Well, a lot's come off my life here recently. I just got back from Vietnam, taking 8 MAGV SOG veterans to, the battlefield, there for 10 days. And then I took some special operations guys to Utah for our Stronghold program. Then we just took 28 World War II veterans to Normandy, came back. And then, like I said, we just did a trip to New England and did that for a week. And so now what's up for me is just rest.
Yeah. Be with the family. Yeah. I know you have everybody home, which is wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah.
First time, in how, over a year, all of our family's been together. 4th of July is coming, right?
Yeah.
And
birthday.
And, so, that's my birthday. I'll turn 45 and to wrap it up, I'll just, in the spirit of 250 years, never underestimate the magnitude of what freedom means on a global scale, right? Because this nation that we've got 250 years ago is the freest, most opportunistic, most prosperous nation that's ever existed. And it's not because we got a Grand Canyon. It's because we have good men and women that stood up to the face of a tyrant of a king, pointed a middle finger at the biggest military, the most deadly military that has existed, and said, no, we will be free men and women, right? And what, if you haven't done your history on why or how miraculous it was that these 13 colonies beat the British to get the freedoms that we have. And again, so go back to the significance of that word. When I say freedom, don't put us up next to Syria. Yeah, we're freer than Syria. That's pretty self-explanatory. Go to Canada and try to preach a sermon on a sidewalk. Guess what? You'll go to jail, right? Go to Germany and wash your car in the driveway on Sunday. That's illegal. Right? France it's quite literally legal to name your pig Napoleon.
Go to the UK and tell the police that your friend was raped.
Yeah.
You're now challenging the government on their
or even worse,
policy.
Tweet something like that and you'll go to jail. I think they say 37 people a day are going to jail over there because of what they're tweeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not here, not in America, right? And truly, I mean, there's so many because of the 4th, there's a lot of new documentaries that are coming out and other things that are older documentaries that are getting recirculated. Watch them.
Yeah.
And truly understand just how miraculous these freedoms that we have really are.
Yeah. It's really important that you sit down with your family and you teach them. I mean, we have to be appreciative. It does not matter politically where you stand. The Constitution is a cultural document. We're going to live by those freedoms in that cultural document, and you have options not to.
That, by the way, was founded by Christian values.
Founded with Christian values.
People don't
under God.
Under God. That the 13 when we did the Declaration of Independence, because a lot of the other one side would say that, sure they were believers, but it was kind of on the outside. It really wasn't, the main part. It was just a supplementary thing. No. 9 out of the 13 colonies, in order to be a congressman there, you had to swear allegiance to Jesus Christ, quite literally. Right. And so when we declared our independence, we had people that were Bible believing, church attending believers say, no, our rights are inalienable by God, our creator. That's where we get our rights from.
Yep.
We've got to remember that.
Yeah.
And never forget that.
Yeah. And in there, they put our right to religion. So that's how bold it was.
Right.
Saying our rights are granted by God.
Right.
we're going to that you can come in and worship your God on our land.
Right.
I mean, it's a remarkable.
There's a difference between of and from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Nowadays, they want to put the word freedom from religion, that you can't have you can't do this. No. You can't stop us.
Yeah.
Is freedom of religion that you can't stop us from it.
Yeah.
For sure, you can't have a state-sponsored religion. That is one, but that is the only part of the what you can't do. The rest of it is we are free to believe in our Creator, and that Creator is Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Yeah. So, sit down on 4th of July is on a Saturday.
Yeah.
We're
going to do the Forge, by the way, if you're open. I don't know what you got going, but I'm going to be there getting crazy.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So is there any, financially, is there any nonprofits or anything that you're involved in that you guys could use some support or anything like that? Did you want to mention?
We always, thanks for asking, at the end of the day, God's got us in his hand, but, I am the president of the Best Defense Foundation, where we, have 3 different pillars where we take the Battlefield Return, Stronghold, and Next Gen program. Okay. And we can always use help there. But go to bestdefensefoundation.org and look us up, and we're changing lives.
Yeah, that's awesome. But brother, love you, man.
Love you back, brother.
I'll see you Saturday. No burpees.
Please.
Can we take, if it's your birthday, can we maybe we just sit on the mat?
Just do all push-ups.
I came home and did more handstands. So I'm like, I'm doing it.
Of course you did.
I'm getting it. I need to get it done.
Yeah.
I know I can do it. I used to walk around on my hands, Yeah. I used to be the kid that could walk around on my hands, and my sister and I would hit each other with our feet.
That's why I threw it in there, because you don't realize how difficult it is in your 40s or 50s.
And the belly likes gravity. Right?
Yeah.
So it was kind of pushing it.
It is a law.
I'll see you Saturday morning. We're going to kick some butt. We're going to get closer to God, and
Amen.
We're going to celebrate your birthday, and we're going to rock it. And I hope we can keep inspiring and having these conversations.
That's right. I always tell everybody, be great.
Yeah. Love you, brother.
Love you back.